All right. So we are recording. If you have anything super specific, you can always follow up with us, but hopefully we can answer any general questions or even kind of specific questions that you might be facing as you get settled.
Justin, so Sarah doesn't have Jess's phone, but I can start and then.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot. Do you want to go through the first slides, or do you want me to?
Why don't we both do it?
Okay.
You might want to start.
Okay, yeah, so I'll start. And this is good orientation to some of these portions. Unfortunately, some, because there's like a million orientations this week, et cetera, some of our colleagues from offices aren't there. So I'm going to be doing a vaguely terrible, but hopefully sufficient job at kind of going through some of those things. But again, I really just want to stress to go back. All of this is on umb.edu/grad resources. So you can definitely hear it from the horse's mouth.
And for those of us who are here that can help and pitch in, we got your back.
Excellent. Yes, please correct me, etc. Jump in. All right, so the registrar's office is basically the main point of contact for anything to do with like your program requirements. So the graduate catalog will have things like, all of the course information that you have to take, like electives, things like that. Applying for graduation. So making sure that you're on track, that's usually an advising relationship with your program. But as you get close to graduation, the registrar's office will kind of work with you to make sure everything is all set and that you've actually applied for graduation. I'm already doing a terrible job at this because there are like specific dates that you should be mindful of, but luckily you're a new student, so you should hopefully get your bearings, and by the time you're ready to graduate, I think it's like March 1st, but a few months before graduation, you register to graduate through the registrar's office. We also have academic calendars on the registrar's website. We have them through like future semesters if you need to do planning. That will also have any holidays and things like that. You can also use them to request transcripts. So we work with the National Clearinghouse. So if you ever need like an enrollment verification or a transcript from UMass Boston, the registrar's office and website can help you. Okay, so forms, registrar's office and the Office of Graduate Studies kind of work in tandem to do any sort of policy exceptions. So for instance, we have a continuous registration policy in which you have to either be registered for courses or dissertation credits, or we have a program fee. If you're really not going to be on campus to stay active, there's a $225 program fee that you just pay per semester. If you need to take a leave of absence, like if there's a medical issue, a caretaking issue, you're called away for military service, it's really good and kind of important to do that proactively so that you can kind of maintain that continuous registration. If you don't maintain that continuous registration, we also work with readmission forms if you have to come back, but you have kind of lapsed and need to pay back program fees. So for academic policies, again, I think the closest relationships you'll have is with your graduate program director and graduate program staff. But if you have questions that they can't answer, or it's just a direct kind of administrative question, always feel free to reach out. Basically, the kind of order of operations is a student would work with their graduate program director. The program director then submits that request to the Office of Graduate Studies. And then we, once the Dean of Graduate Studies reviews and approves it, send it over to the registrar's office. All right, Shirley, can you do Wiser, please?
Sure. So this is Wiser. This is the student account. Hopefully you guys have all been on Wiser and a little familiar with the process. So on this is also, always different holds. So depending what you need to do, Sarah, who usually presents at this orientation, has circled these particular ones, which she thought was important to you according to the registrar's office. But it's a great resource. Wiser is just has everything on it. So if you want to see, obviously, your schedule, if you have holds, your grades are, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I think she just wanted to show you this page. Next, please, Justin. So registration, so everyone has different dates when they can register, and you will receive appointment dates. I'm not sure if it's emailed to you, but certainly if you log into your Wiser, what we call the student center page, you would have a date on it. It would also list who your advisor is to make it easier. They really push registration because obviously the early bird gets the worm. You want to make sure that, you know, you pick the classes that you want at the time slot that you want with the professor that you want. So there's different holds or flags on your Wiser that can prevent you from registering. You know, if you, for example, like if you have a pass-through hold, if you have an immunization hold, what else? I think those are the really only two that will prevent you, from registering and from getting a transcript. But we do have other, I'm sorry?
Vaccinations.
Yeah, but we do have, that's the immunization. But we do have another hold, it's the COVID hold. So you have to upload your COVID card and you should be vaccinated with 2 shots and at least 1 booster. And typically if you don't upload this card on your health portal by the end of ad drop, I know last semester they dropped students who had classes on campus. If you're an online student only, then that was, you know, you wouldn't get dropped in those classes. But if you had classes on campus, it's very important that you upload that COVID vaccination card on your health portal. So I know Justin touched on continuing status and program fee. So grad students, like you said, if you're taking a semester off, you know, whether it be personal, medical, if you're working on your dissertation, you do have to stay active and you would register for the program fee, which is CAS 600. And it is $225 per semester. So grad students have to maintain a 3.0 GPA in all your coursework, with C- being the minimum. Sorry, I can't see with C- being the minimum grade, which is considered passing. Next, please, Justin.
Sorry.
Do you know about the statute of limitations, Justin?
Yeah, hold on just 1 sec. Sorry. There we go. There was a yellow line that was like really bothering me. Yes, so statute of limitations, each program has their own. It's typically about 5 years for master's programs and I think 8 for PhD programs, but you can check on the catalog to be sure. If you need to take more time, you can take in increments of a semester or a year, apply for an extension. And then basically you fill out an extension form, work with your GPD to explain what the kind of path to get to graduation after that extension is. And then that will be kind of extended in Wiser and allow you to register for future semesters.
Okay. So I believe, like you said, I know you guys are just starting a program and we're always talking graduation, but we're being positive here. So when time comes to apply for graduation, I believe the date is March 1st. And you just do that online, but the instruction how to do it is on the website. If you need a transcripts are always ordered through the nationalclearinghouse.org. I believe there's like a $2 fee, but it will get sent overnight. It's you know, whereas the registrar's office would, you know, when we used to do it manually within the office, within the registrar's office, it would take, you know, a good 24 to 48 hours. So it is that much faster. If you need an unofficial transcript, you can view it in Wiser and you're also able to print one. And if you need a form for to defer your loans or what have you, you can always get it through the nationalclearinghouse.org again. Oh, so Sarah just said for graduation, it's October if you're going to be a December grad. If you are May grad, you actually have until the end of May. So I guess Jess is the representative from the registrar's office is having car trouble, so she's not home yet. So that's why she's not on. So we do apologize.
She's actually here because
she is here.
She cares that much about our students. So Jesse, we kind of went over a few things, but I didn't know if you wanted to just introduce yourself, and maybe I can walk back, especially like Wiser, if you have any tips or tricks for that kind of stuff. We would love to hear it if you're available.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my apologies and thanks for your patience. I had tried sending an email, but that didn't go through. So using Wiser is, I'm sure Shirley did a fantastic job of explaining the different icons that are available on the Wiser self-service. As a person in the registrar's office, I highly recommend becoming familiar with the My Academics, enrollment, and holds icons. Explore those and explore the help topics on the Wiser IT page to help navigate when and if you need those different fields. Maybe I couldn't, my advisor need. So,
sorry.
You're having trouble registering for classes, Amy? Question mark. When you select enrollment, there's no option to search for classes. Oh, my apologies for misunderstanding. Yes, some programs do register their students manually, and that's something you would talk to your program director or program administrator with. How to know what classes to register for, that is all done with your advisor or your program director. My apologies, I have to take a call from AAA. But
Jesse Robinson, everybody. Thank you so much for still jumping on after all of that.
Justin, share my email, my personal email with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you won't get very far without knowing Jesse and knowing Jesse's email. But we will make sure to do that.
Sorry.
Thanks so much, Jesse. All right, so let's jump ahead to the bursar's office. And I'm sorry, I don't think I introduced her. We have our associate bursar, Shirley Condon here, who's already done a great job with the registrar slides. And now she's on home turf.
Hopefully.
Yeah, never know.
Anyway, welcome everybody again. So for the students that registered prior to August 7th, you should have received an e-bill at this point. And the due date is actually tomorrow. So for the students who register after August 7th, you'll receive an e-bill first, probably by the 7th or 8th of September, and the due date's October 1st. Typically, we send monthly e-bills, and it's always on the 7th of each month. And the due date's always the 1st of the following month. So how to pay. Different options. We do take cash still. Cash payments would have to be brought up to the campus center building. We're located on the 4th floor. We're open from 8:30 to 5, Monday through Thursday, and then 8:30 to 4 on Fridays. You can make credit card payments. This is all done on your Wiser account. We prefer actually online payments. So if you're making an electronic check payment or a credit card payment, it would be on your Wiser, on your student center, student financials, and then under payment options. With any credit card payment, whether it be a credit card or a debit card, there is a 2.5% processing fee. So if it's a debit card, you want to choose the other option, which is electronic check. And basically you just enter your routing number, your checking account number, and it will, debit the account automatically. If you want to mail in a check to us, or if you want to stop by, we can take check payments, cashier's check payments, and you can actually bring those to the One Stop, which is in the Campus Center building on the upper level. And for those that want to use financial aid, it's not too late to apply for financial aid, but Tim Hunt will be on after me and he will talk to you about the process. We also offer in-house payment plan. So I know if you registered after August 7th, you haven't received an e-bill yet, you're still able to see all your charges on your Wiser account. And then you could enroll in the payment plan, in the form and payment plan by tomorrow. If you want to wait, perfectly okay. We do offer a 3-month payment plan. And the deadline to do that is on October 1st. So basically the payment plan, there's a $30 per semester enrollment fee. We offer the payment plan for fall, spring, and summer. No winter, because winter session is too short. And you pay the $30 fee, but it does allow you that flexibility to break your payments into 4 payments. You would have to enter a payment method, and then it would auto debit on the 1st of each month. Next, please, Justin. So this is once again the Wiser page with all the different icons. For us, the most important one is the one that looks like a dollar bill that says finance and financial aid. Once you go into that, you click on student financials. And this is a great page to familiarize yourself with because it has your schedule. You can do anything that you need to do for our office. You can do anything you need to do for the financial aid office. It has a section where if you have a hold, capacity to immunization, packing, anything like that. It would list when you can register for the spring semester, and it may also list your advisor. So it's a good page to familiarize yourself with. Next, please, Justin. So one of the things that we handle in our office is health insurance. It's state law that as a grad student enrolled in 7 or more credits, you do have to be insured. So if you have your own, that's great. Most of our students do have their own. You would have to log into your Wiser, Student Center, Student Financial page. And under the health insurance link, you need to opt out. If you have your own, you would have to provide us with your personal insurance information. If you want to opt in, you would have to log on that same link and you would just click that you want to opt in, you want to confirm enrollment. Our health insurance is Blue Cross Blue Shield. It is a PPO. The annual policy is $3,471. So it does run year round. There's no lapse in coverage. If you want to view the benefits, log on to universityhealthplans.com, and then under find your school, you would click UMass Boston and then benefits. You're also able to purchase dental and vision on the site, or if you want to add a spouse or dependent, you would do it on this site. For the semesters that you're on program fee, Jonathan, yes, you do have to opt out if you're taking more than 7 units. The deadline to waive the health insurance is October 1st. And we do send weekly emails, notifying the student, hey, you're being charged is $3,400. If you don't need it, please waive it. So shortly after October 1st, we would force, if you haven't taken any action, we will, enroll you into our health insurance plan. And I know usually the first week, the first few days after October 1st there's always a line in our office because students forget. I don't know how they magically forget on the 2nd or the 3rd when we've been emailing, but they do. And we have a short window that we can, still waive it within a grace period. But, so come November, if you reach out and say, hey, I forgot to do this, can you still waive it? it is too late. So, you know, $3,400 is a lot of money to waste if you don't need to. I'll answer the chat questions about health insurance once I'm done with my presentation. It might be easier that way. So we also offer the financial aid book advance. And what that means is if you have financial aid and your financial aid exceeds your charges, you have an excess amount on your Wiser account, we will send you an email and we'll say, you know, hi, John, hi, Jane, you have up to X amount of dollars, and the maximum is $750. You have up to X amount of dollars that you can use at the bookstore. And so you can then go to the bookstore, purchase what you need. You can use it for anything with the exception of gift cards. So pick up anything you need. And when you get to the register, just tell them you're going to use financial aid and they're able to pull you up. Or you can order your books online. And I think it's fallatbooks.com, and you can take advantage of the financial aid book advance. So after the first week of school, that add drop period, financial aid then disperses your financial aid to us, and it becomes what we call real money. And then we start to cut refund checks. We issue refund checks, which let me just say refunds. We issue refunds every Friday. And the quickest way is to enroll in direct deposit. If you enroll in direct deposit, you would get it the following week. If you don't enroll in direct deposit, then your check is mailed out the following week. So there's always a week delay. And it's just easier, you know, to have the funds in your account than have to wait for the check to come and then deposit it. If you drive to school, you're able to add a semester pass to your Wiser account. You would just have to go to the parking office, which is in the Quinn building, second floor. There's different types of parking passes depending on where you want to park. So definitely check that option out. The advantage to having a parking pass is that, you know, you're able to come and go during the day with the parking pass. Whereas if you pay daily, if you had to leave for any particular reason, you come back a second time, you'd be paying twice for that day. So you want to save your money and get a parking pass. So student holds will go on the accounts. Anytime you miss a due date, you can risk being assessed a late fee. I believe it's $70 this fall semester. And a financial hold will go on your account. Once you have that financial hold, the past due hold, you're not going to be able to register for the spring semester come November. And you're also not going to be able to access your grades or get a diploma. So, try to have either a payment plan in place or financial aid in place, some way of paying that bill before your financial hold goes on. Our website is actually a very good resource too. So it'll be umb.edu/bursar. There's actually a short video on how to make a payment, how to view your account, how to waive your health insurance. And sometimes it's helpful because I know you guys are being thrown a lot of information today. So please check out our website. And I think that's it for me, Justin. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Shirley.
No problem.
All right, and next we have Timothy Hunt from our financial aid office.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. Thank you for having me. So congratulations on your admission to UMass Boston. I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about financial aid. So I see some questions are out there, and Shirley mentioned it as well. It is definitely not too late to complete a FAFSA to apply for financial aid for this upcoming 2022-23 academic year. It is recommended that you complete it as soon as possible, but you can actually apply for financial aid even after the term has started. So in order for students to actually receive financial aid as a graduate student, you must enroll in at least 6 credits per term, counting toward your degree requirements in order to be eligible for federal student loans. And you must be making satisfactory academic progress. Satisfactory academic progress for graduate students means that you have a GPA of over 3.0, a completion percentage, credit completion percentage, or also known as PACE, of over 67%. and you haven't attempted more than 150% of the credits required to complete your program. If a student is not meeting satisfactory academic progress, they definitely have the option to appeal if they can document extenuating circumstances. For most of you first-year students, you will not have your satisfactory academic progress calculated again until the end of the spring 23 term. If you happen to be in a certificate program, though, we will calculate your SAP status after the end of the fall 22 term. So right now, the 2022-23 FAFSA application is available. Come this October 1st, the 2023-24 FAFSA will be available, and that will be used for the 2023-24 academic year, which makes up the fall 23 term through the spring 24 term. And you do need to complete a FAFSA for every year you wish to apply for financial aid. You will have to enter UMass Boston's federal school code in order for us to get the application. While doing the application, you can also just select UMass Boston as your school, and the school code would automatically populate, and then we'll get your application. Justin, if you can go to the next slide. So graduate students can be eligible to borrow up to $20,500 per academic year in a federal direct unsubsidized loan. Your FAFSA is the application to actually apply for the unsubsidized loan. The interest rate is 6.54% for this upcoming 22-23 academic year. The interest rate is fixed for the year. Interest rate for 23-24 will be calculated next June. And there is an origination fee of just over 1% that's deducted prior to disbursement. So that's why when you see your loan awards, you'll see a gross and net amount. So the Department of Education is your lender. They will assign a loan servicer to manage repayment, usually 4 to 6 weeks after your loan first disperses. And your loan servicer will usually email you or send you something in the mail to let you know, hey, we're your servicer, will be handling repayment once you graduate. So, like I said earlier, for federal student loans, you must be enrolled at least 6 graduate credits per term. Repayment begins 6 months after you graduate or leave school, or 6 months after you fall below a half-time enrollment status. So let's say if you're in your last term and you're only enrolled in 3 credits, your 6-month grace period prior to repayment would start there. And you also must complete a master promissory note and entrance counseling before any loans can disperse. We will send you an email with the links of where exactly to go to do these online requirements, but they are required in order for us to be able to disperse your loan. Justin, you want to go to the next slide? So the Graduate Plus loan is a loan if you are in need of additional aid, or to say if you've utilized all of your unsubsidized loan eligibility for the year or the lifetime limit. So for graduate students, unsubsidized loans, the maximum they can receive lifetime are $138,500. So if you were to max out your eligibility, you still can apply for a Graduate Plus loan. This is a credit-based application. The credit requirements are much looser than that, say, of a private student loan. You do need to complete a FAFSA to be able to apply for a plus loan. And like the unsubsidized loan, the interest rate is fixed for the academic year. It's 1% higher at 7.54%, but the origination fee is roughly 3% higher at just over 4%. So you always want to utilize your unsubsidized loan eligibility before, say, applying for a Graduate Plus loan. So interest accrues from the time of disbursement, and the Department of Education is the lender, just like for the unsubsidized loan I discussed on the last slide. Same situation in terms of enrollment. You must be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen, and it has the same repayment terms as the unsubsidized loan. And again, for this plus loan, you would need to complete a promissory note and entrance counseling specific to the plus loan. Justin, want to go to the next slide? Thank you. So private student loans, that's another option for students. If some students may want to apply for a private student loan instead of federal loans, that's totally okay, and a FAFSA is not required to do so. Students can apply directly with the lender of their choice that lends to UMass Boston students. There are fixed and variable interest rate options. Those actual rates are determined by your credit score, whether you add a cosigner, and if you select to have repayment either begin while in school, interest-only payments while in school, or if you want to defer repayment until 6 months after you graduate, like the federal student loans I discussed earlier. So interest accrues from the time of disbursement, just like those federal loans. You get to choose your lender. There are several lenders that work with UMass Boston students, like Discover, Citizens Bank, Sallie Mae, for instance. Some lenders do have a cosigner release option. After you graduate, if you make 12 on-time payments, they could release the lender could release your cosigner for responsibility for paying the loan if you were to default on it. And you also have deferred and full interest only and immediate repayment options. And international students can apply for a private student loan, but they must have a creditworthy cosigner who is a US citizen or permanent resident. Justin, the next one, please. All right, some additional aid options. So some of you are here tonight because you have been awarded an assistantship. Some graduate students can be awarded fellowships. If you are interested in federal work study, you just need to contact our student employment office and to see if there's funds available. You will have to have a FAFSA on file. In work study jobs, the money does not go towards your tuition and fees. You would actually get a paycheck and you could do what you want with that money, whether it's to help with school or living related expenses. For the only federal grant program currently out there for graduate students is the Teach Grant program. This is for students that want to become teachers in a high need field serving low income students. If you are interested in applying for a Teach Grant, there are a couple forms that need to be filled out with financial aid. The College of Education will determine your eligibility. And then if you are eligible for a Teach Grant, it will be awarded based on your actual enrollment. There's some links here that you can also find on our financial aid webpage about how to apply for outside scholarships. And you can always contact your department or graduate program director to inquire about many additional funding opportunities that might be available out there that are actually not awarded by financial aid. And Justin, so financial aid adjustment reasons. So if we ever adjust your aid after we award you, we're going to send you an email. And some of the things that could impact your aid are the addition of tuition and credits and fee waivers, the change in the percentage of the tuition credit and fee waiver, the addition of a department or outside award such as a scholarship or a grant. If you change your enrollment, for say if you did not enroll in at least 6 credits for the spring term, then you wouldn't be eligible for the federal student loan, even if you were in 6 credits for the fall. And if you withdraw from the term, we do have to review your eligibility and determine if you have any unearned aid that has to be returned back to the Department of Education. If again, we make any adjustments to your loans, we will definitely send you an email and they'll always go to your UMass Boston email account. But if you ever have any questions about the adjustments or anything else about financial aid, you can contact the financial aid office. You can also contact the One Stop, which is a great resource where the One Stop can answer questions financial aid, registrar, or bursar related. And that's it for my presentation tonight, but I will definitely be on and we'll be looking in the chat to see if there are any financial aid questions I can answer. But if you have any questions at all, you can reach out to me directly and call me or email me. Again, I'm in the financial aid office overseeing graduate students. So thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks so much, Jim. All right, so next we have Sean Morian with the Office of Global Programs.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the University of Massachusetts, Boston. The Office of Global Programs is designed with 2 distinct wings that exist within. Our overall goal is to create a global community here at the university by connecting our international students with our domestic students also, and really creating a vibrant, globalized campus right in the heart of Dorchester. The office has 2 distinct wings, the International Student and Scholar Services. That side is designed to support all of our international students on F1 and J1 visas who need support with regards to immigration compliance with the federal government. The best approach for any international students to have is don't do anything until you consult with my team. Don't withdraw yourself from courses. Don't decide you're going to study remotely. Don't do anything that can impact your non-immigrant status with the federal government. The last thing you want is to think you've made the right decision, travel outside the country, and then when you try to re-enter, you're held at Customs and Border Patrol because you've fallen out of status in some way. So that's where my office and my team will work with international students to make sure that the correct actions are being taken at all times. The other side of our office is study abroad and partnerships. We have a robust student exchange program, and programs that are designed for graduate students to do research overseas. If at any point as a graduate student you wish to take part in an exchange program with one of our partner universities or partner programs, as well as many of our faculty-led study abroad and research programs, you'll come through our office and we'll help you throughout the entire process to choose the right program for you, walk you through any visa compliance issues that may come with the host institution, and try and find the best program possible for you. Danielle, I'm seeing your question. That's actually never been reviewed before, so it's not off the table, and I'm happy to circle back to you online. Okay. And that's the Office of Global Programs in a nutshell. Immigration compliance for international students and for all students, domestic and international, study abroad and research opportunities overseas. And I will move along, Justin, because I've cut it down nice and short.
Great. Thanks so much, Hon. And thank you again. The office has done a lot of international orientation programming already, so I'm very glad that some of you have been able to take part in that. All right, so next up, next we're going backwards. So next up we have Joyce Morgan from the Ross Center for Disability Services.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet all of you and happy to welcome you to UMass Boston. If you are a student who has a disability, invisible or visible, we work with students for academic accommodations in the classroom. We serve a wide variety of medical mobility, communication, sensory, mental health, learning, cognitive, and neurological impairments. If you had accommodations in your undergraduate program or in previous schooling, that's a great way to know if you would apply for accommodations here. Registering with us is super easy. You will need a UMass Boston email and an ID number to register with us. That's part of our registration process. And you simply complete an online registration on the Ross Center homepage. You see our homepage there. We do need medical documentation, letter with diagnosis and treatment plan from a medical care provider. And that can be either uploaded securely to the registration form, emailed to us, dropped off at our office, which is in the campus center on the upper level. We're actually the best way to give you directions is we are right across from Dunkin' Donuts. Since most people seem to know where that is, it makes it really easy to find the Ross Center. Or you can fax it to us. Yes, we have an old school fax. A lot of medical providers prefer to fax information as opposed to send it via email, though we accept it both ways. And then after you submit that information and complete that form, you can call us at our phone number to set up an appointment with the staff member. You can also email us. We'd be happy to work with you over email to set up that appointment. And we do hold meetings in person, over Zoom, or by phone. Students who are enrolled in entirely online programs, because I've seen some questions about that, there are some accommodations that may be available to you. So certainly don't hesitate to reach out to us so we can chat about that with you. Beginning the second week of school, we will have drop-in hours in person and online, and those will be posted on our webpage. But once you complete this registration process, you'll attend an initial meeting with the staff member, and that's where you'll discuss the accommodations that would be available to you. After that's all settled and you have a record with us, you can select accommodations for your classes for each semester. You will need to select them each semester because your classes change. And that's how we inform your faculty who are notified via email. They're notified simply of the accommodations, not of any of your disability or diagnosis. Without registering with us, academic accommodations are not available as a general rule. The faculty will refer you back to us. So I encourage you to check in with us if you think you might be entitled to accommodations to better access your course material. Okay. I think that's probably it, but I'm here for questions in the chat, and I will put our Ross Center email in the chat just so you have it. Thanks so much for inviting me, Justin, and welcome to UMass, everybody.
Great. Thanks so much, Joyce. All right, so next we have a representative, Stacey Lance, from the Consortium for Graduate Studies in Gender, Culture, Women, and Sexuality, which is kind of a cool multi-campus consortium. So Stacey, take it away.
Hi, good evening, everybody. This is my first time participating in a virtual grad student resource fair, but I am the program manager for the Consortium for Graduate Studies in Gender, Culture, Women, and Sexuality. And we are a consortium of 9 universities. And so we're hosted at MIT, which means we are, on the MIT campus, but we work with Boston College, Boston University, Brandeis, Harvard, MIT, Northeastern, Simmons, Tufts, and UMass Boston. And so one of our main components is bringing people together for both courses and events through feminist scholarship and teachings in women, gender, and sexuality studies. So this year, Justin, if you want to go to the next slide. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you go back to the previous slide? I forgot that I put this on here. If you want to look at us at any type of social media platform, it is GCWS at MIT on all of them. And we put out all of our news on our social media platforms as well. Great. Now can you go? Great. And so we do a series of academic courses each year, and UMass Boston graduate students are welcome to cross-register for the courses. I'm happy to provide more information for that if you're interested in any of them. But we have an agreement with UMass Boston where students can come over and take courses with us. This year, we are offering 2 courses in the fall. It's on intimate violence, and then also a feminist and queer theory, and then 3 courses in the spring, which is a gender and sexuality in Asian American culture, memory, identity, and nation, perspectives from South Asia and the United States, and then gender and sport in transnational context. And so most of those would be offered on the MIT campus. One of them is actually going to be offered up at Tufts. But one of the things that I really like to say to folks is that our courses change every single year. The faculty that we work with change every single year. So if nothing here is of interest, definitely check back in future years to kind of see where things might be going. The other things to note, especially if you can't do any full semester courses with us, are the events that we have during the year. All of the events are free and open to anybody, but we have a graduate student conference that is going to take place in spring of 2023. Our CFP is already out there. So if you want to submit your research to present at the conference, you're more than welcome to do that. The deadline to submit work is the end of October. But also this graduate student conference is completely dreamed up, organized, and implemented by grad students. So if organizing conferences is something that you would like to get experience in, that's another way to kind of engage with GCWS. And then the other events that we do are Feminisms Unbound, which is a panel series, and we have panels upcoming in November, in February, and April, and then Women Take the Reel, which is a film festival. So there's a lot going on. I put the website on the bottom of this slide, so you're more welcome to check out the website. We have a newsletter that you're also welcome to check out. Oh, Joy, hi, how are you? Yes, I also highly recommend taking courses through the GCWS, but I am really glad to see you here sharing your experience as well. But that is all of the information that I have for you right now. I know that you're about to get a lot of information from a lot of programs, so just keep us in mind. And if you have any questions for me, you're certainly welcome to find me through the website. Thank you, Justin.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, Stacey. All right, so next we have, we're going to hear a few things about the Graduate Student Assembly, and we have Delaney Bowen and Megan Anderson to walk us through some of those things.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can see me. My name is Delaney Bowen. I'm the president of the Graduate Student Assembly, which is kind of like the graduate student government. And Megan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Megan. I'm a master's student with EHS. I'm happy to see you all here today. We can go to the next slide too. Okay, perfect. So
yeah, Megan, you can go.
So what is the GSA? Like Delaney said, we're the graduate student government, and we are labeled as an assembly because we basically do assembly rules. Everybody is equally represented, and we definitely want you all to get involved. Everybody is eligible and it's free. Currently, we're looking for one more member, but there is an e-board. You met the president and myself, and we also have a treasurer named Diane, and our advisor is Chiquita. We work with a couple of different offices. Like we will be throwing an international student social tomorrow between 6 and 8. And we'll be trying to do things like that throughout the semester. And we are looking for a secretary. So if you're interested, send us your resume in our email. You can go to the next slide. Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically I'm just gonna give an overview of what the GSA does. So one of the main aspects I think we would do is social events. So sometimes for graduate students, you're kind of secluded in your department or with just people that are in your class. So this has been like one of the best ways I've reached outside of my biology lab and met other graduate students at UMass Boston. So we'll be having social events. We're planning, like Megan said, if you're an international student, you can come tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Beacon Cafe. We're gonna be having a pizza social where you can just mingle and ask questions. We're also going to be planning a general social at the end of September and the beginning of October for all graduate students just to meet each other and have like some casual food. The other things that we do is professional development. We're going to be having a lot of grant writing workshops, resume, LinkedIn and CV workshops throughout the year. We also sponsor grants. So you guys pay a fee for our budget and we give back to graduate students by awarding grants. So there's a lot of information about that we can provide you. If you're a doctoral or master's student, you can apply. The amount that we give each semester changes. So sometimes it's 1,500 and sometimes it goes lower, but you can get any sort of range. Yeah. They also did a summer grant this last summer, so we're starting to implement some of those.
Yeah. I'll be having
other thing that you can apply for.
If they have questions, we'll be having a Zoom question and answer about grants on the 21st of September, but we'll be emailing. So
yes,
sorry that we're being so brief, but
yes. So the other thing that we fund is professional development grants. So if you're going to a conference, we can give up to $500 if you're the speaker, and various things like that. The other thing that we really want to do for social is to have clubs and recognize professional associations. So for example, if you're in the biology department, we don't have a biology grad student club. So we're looking for people who want to start that. There's also clubs that don't have to be affiliated with academics. So if you just wanted to start, say like a soccer club, you can start that, and we give some funding for that.
And we can provide support. And if you guys have questions about that, we'll also be talking more about that in our first meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think if anyone's interested in getting involved in campus, making change,
we can go
campus,
to the next slide.
Yeah.
This is how you can contact
us. Yeah. Yeah, so we're starting to form some committees. So if you're interested in things like peer mentorship, mental health, or just planning events, we're making committees for that. Or if you just want to be a representative, anyone's allowed to join. So yeah.
And if you can see on Monday, September 19th at 6 p.m., we'll be doing our first meeting. So we'll be sending out the Zoom link for that. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you guys so much. And I highly encourage you guys to reach out. Not only are there funding and professional opportunities, it's just a nice, especially kind of getting across department kind of synergy and social connections. All right, so next up, we're going to hear from the off-campus living, and John Sears is here with us.
Thanks, Justin. Hey, everyone. Congratulations on starting your graduate studies at UMass Boston this fall. I will be brief. Our office will assist students in navigating the Boston rental market if you have not found accommodations for this fall semester, you can contact us at the information at the lower left of your screen, or take a picture of the QR code and that'll send you directly to our webpage. And you can schedule an appointment with us over Zoom to receive the web resources that we have and also talk through your strategy. We can help you navigate the rental market, which the good news is that there is still plenty of inventory in the community surrounding the university. We can help you connect with roommates with an exclusive site to UMass Boston students to create a roommate profile. And we also have resources available to you. So if you're renting for the first time in Boston, there are a lot of great checklists and resources so you can enter into the relationship as a responsible and informed tenant. The last thing I'll mention too is that with the increase in rents in the Boston area, really pretty much all over, local, state, and federal agencies have reported an increase in scams. And so you want to be very careful as you enter into agreement. And so our checklists create some points for you to follow to conduct a financially safe apartment hunt. So if you have any questions at all about the Boston rental market, roommates, any of the resources, the neighborhoods, please contact us at the information on the lower left of your screen or take a picture of the QR code and we'll be happy to help you. Best wishes this semester. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks so much, John. All right, so I'm just going to quickly go through these slides for UMass Boston Recreation. I don't believe we have a representative here, and also my colleague from the Office of Civil Rights and Title IX needs to jump off. So it's great, it's fun. There are a ton of things. It really is everything from group fitness classes to intramural sports. So there's also a gym. So if you just go online, depending on what kind of things you're interested in, usually there's something going on for the events. All of it's membership based on your enrollment, so you can work with them to set up either a gym membership or get involved in the various sports. So let me just head over. Oh, UAccess has fancy slides. Sorry, we'll be going back. All right, so next we have Val Imparato from the Office of Civil Rights and Title IX.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you for joining me today. So like Justin said, my name is Valerie Imparato, and I am from the Office of Title IX. My office is responsible for dealing with all issues of discrimination, harassment, and sexual violence campus-wide. Now, my office, as opposed to the Dean of Students office, what we do is we deal with issues when the accused person is an employee of the university. So if it's a student-on-student issue, you would go to the Dean of Students office. If the accused is an employee, you would go to our office. We do several things. We write the policies for the university to make sure we're in compliance with the law. We also provide trainings to different constituents in the university. And then we conduct formal investigations into complaints of discrimination, harassment, or sexual violence, as well as informal resolution options like mediation and things like that. You'll hear from me probably throughout your career at UMass Boston, because we do targeted and individualized trainings, but I wanted you to make sure that we are here as a resource for you. Hopefully I never meet you in person because when people come to meet me, it's not the most fun thing, but you can always stop by for free candy in my office. So welcome to UMass, and I'll pass it on to the next person.
Justin, you're muted.
Hey, Joyce, same time.
Thank you very much. So anyway, the slides do speak for themselves, but I suppose I could probably speak for them. So we don't, unfortunately, have a representative from the University Health Services office, but they are your go-to for anything from general medicine to, I know some of you had mentioned that you have COVID-related holds or immunization-related holds, rather. So they're the office that oversees those holds. We also have a variety of COVID-19 and PPE processes in place that the University Health Services has been instrumental in maintaining. We also have the Counseling Center as part of the University Health Services, and that is an amazing resource. No matter what is going on, grad school is very hard. It can be alienating. There's lots of issues in your other lives that you maintain kind of separately and simultaneously. So if you, regardless of what kind of social network or support network you have, the Counseling Center is a great resource if you do need to touch base with a professional, and you can call them and work out a variety of ways of seeing them and getting some help or support, or even resources for other supports outside. So they also have a variety of health and education and wellness. It's a very holistic report, a holistic approach. So it's not just kind of go to get Band-Aids, go if you're sick, et cetera. They have a lot of kind of preventative programs that focuses on just kind of holistic wellness. So rather than butcher all the nuances, I highly recommend you check out their website. And again, all of these are on the Grad Resources webpage, and I will be sending out the slides themselves to the attendees today.
Did you say that they're located in the Quinn building on the second floor?
Yes, they are in the Quinn building, second floor. Thanks, Ruben. All right, so next I just wanted to do, I'm not going to do these fancy slides justice, but UAccess unfortunately wasn't able to send a representative, but they're a campus office that works specifically to provide students with just basic needs and fighting systems of poverty, providing economic security, or providing resources to kind of get students at that place. Similar to what I was saying about the Counseling Center, there's just a lot going on in the world right now. There's a lot going on with a diverse student body that has a lot of other competing commitments, and we all live in a very particular world. So UAccess is one of the efforts to try to provide some basic services. So it ranges from everything from advocacy consultations to a food pantry. We have meal and snack programs. We can also help you get set up on SNAP if that's something that you qualify for. We also have emergency supplies, locker or laptop rentals. So really, as you get settled, if you're seeing these needs not being met and you're getting concerned, UAccess is a great place to start. Judgment-free. Similarly, if you have colleagues as you start that seem to be in need of these services or could benefit from these services, please feel free to kind of move as many people as you can to UAccess for these kinds of critical life stuff before you can even get to the point of being successful as a graduate student. So there's various housing assistance, financial counseling, tax preparation, legal consultations. So it really does run the gamut. And depending on your particular issue, there are advisors and caseworkers that can kind of work with you to figure out what would be best among these things. So I won't go through all of these, but as you can see, there's just a slew of things that we can help you out with. So feel free to stop by. They're my neighbors in the campus center, second floor, and you can also access them. And again, their website is on the Grad Resources website. If you haven't already, definitely sign up for the UMass Boston Emergency Alert System. That will be everything from a snow day to, if there's like a water main break or something on campus. So that's a good way to make sure that you're in the loop. And I don't believe we have anyone from the Dean of Students. Hey, Georgiana, would you like to do a Dean of Students and ODI combo special?
You know what, I will do my best because it's been a while, so I don't know if the services have changed at all. So can you send me to the next slide and we'll see what's what, or if that
this is it. So it's basically just what would you like graduate students to know about the Dean of Students from where you're sitting?
Sure. So first of all, hi everybody, welcome to UMass Boston. We're so excited to have you here. Just so that you know, I'm a double alum. I was a grad student in a master's program here and a PhD program, and I loved it. And I'm still here, I work here. So I am the Assistant Chancellor for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And part of my role is that I actually partner with pretty much everybody on campus. I know one person, but there's actually another person. I have an opening if you know anyone that I'm going to be hiring soon. But we work through partnership. And so one of our partners is the Dean of Students office. And they are there to help you with all of your compliance and support needs. So for example, if you, let's say you had an accommodation through the Ross Center and it wasn't fulfilled for some reason, or you're having challenges getting it fulfilled and you need support or intervention, the Dean of Students Office can support you. If you are going to file a complaint against a student, another student. I know that Val covered that a little bit earlier. The Dean of Students Office would be, the staff in that team would be responsive to you in that case. Basically, they are your go-to resource for support and help on campus. And I know they would do a much more thorough job, but you know, I know that they have access after hours. I don't know exactly what that is, but since they have the link on there, you can just email and find out. There is a Here For You app that Student Affairs has put out. So if you're confused about, well, is this something that I would go to financial aid for, or the Dean of Students Office or someplace else? I know you probably hear this a bunch of times in orientation, but you can go to the Here For You app and look up your issue, and it will automatically direct you to the right office. So you don't need to figure out, you know, is this something that would go to this person or that person? Basically, we don't want you to feel like you're alone. It's, Justin, can you put the link in the, there's a question, and sorry, my dog is barking. This is the remote work option. So there's a request for a link in the chat. So I'm gonna move from there, if it's okay, just into the ODEI office. So I am the Assistant Chancellor for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and our role is to support the campus climate needs. And so I'm not talking about weather, I'm talking about your experience connected to your identity. So race, gender, veteran status, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, mental health, recovery, anything about who you are. And so what we do is we want to make sure that your experience on campus is welcoming and that you feel like you belong. And when it's not, we want to know about it, not as in a compliance way. That's what Val in the Office of Civil Rights and Title IX takes care of, but in a way that we can look at the structures that are interfering with it being welcome. So if it's behavioral, if it's structural, if it's something that can be addressed and changed, then we want to be part of fixing that. We also invite students to be actively involved in that. We actually have a grad student position open for 10 hours a week. And the idea is that as a grad student, you would work with other grad students to help identify and address issues that might make the campus not welcoming for you. Like we are doing this constantly, so hopefully you're not finding too much, but if you do, that's what we're here for. And so because UMass Boston is a microcosm of the world, and we constantly have changing people, changing employees, changing students, people coming from all over, inevitably there will be things that come up. And so we don't want you to feel like you're alone in that. That you do have someone to talk to. And also, if you don't want to file a complaint, you don't have to. This is, you know, the compliance process is there because we haven't figured out, if you haven't figured out another way to navigate something, if you need support, if you want advice on, you know, how to approach something, if you feel like there's training that is needed in an area where you are, whether it's a club or whether it's in a classroom or something is happening that you feel like, you know what, maybe we should have a training on this. Our office is the one that you could go to ask for those kinds of trainings. So we offer a variety of trainings. So for things like, we have one that's called Inclusive Excellence, and it looks at gender identity and gender pronouns and making sure that people have the right tools to make sure that they're not misgendering someone in the classroom and that they are fully seen, that you are fully seen on campus. And then we also spend time in that training talking about what microaggressions are. Some of you might have that, you could probably run the training, but others are like, what are you talking about? So for that, we want to make sure that we have a shared vocabulary and that we are treating people respectfully and in ways that honor who they are, not just through the lens of our existence and who we are. And so I'm trying to think of what else I want to tell you. Well, as a campus, oh, there you go. Thank you so much for moving to that, right? So trainings, workshops, seat, that's the position I was telling you about where we focus on climate. We have an undergraduate student position and a graduate student position. We do advocacy and engagement work, community outreach. We're going to be running a climate study this fall in October. So we're going to be reaching out and wanting to make sure that we hear how your experience on campus is going, so that if something needs to be addressed, that we have the information to move us in the right direction, so that we're not assuming what's wrong, but we have your words on what's happening. Basically a hub of social justice work. And I also serve as the co-chair for the Restorative Justice Commission on campus. And that is a collection of people that are staff, faculty, and students who are looking at structural issues on campus and looking at new programming that's happening and looking at it through the lens of restorative justice. Does something need to be changed, rebuilt? Does it need to be endorsed and supported? Does there need to be guidance to support a particular approach to something? And an example of something that we have done in the past year is that we've approved and endorsed the formation of an ombudsman office. So if you've been in another institution where they've had one, we actually don't have one at UMass Boston, but we have endorsed one, and we are posting the position for a new ombudsman for our campus. So is there another slide, or is this it? That's it. All right, so if you want to reach me, I'm going to put my email in the chat if you're interested in learning more about SEAT. I can give that to you. And if you ever feel like for any reason that there's something that we could be doing better related to an inclusion and belonging environment on campus, then feel free to just reach out to me directly. Thanks, Justin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Georgina. All right. So next up, we have Teresa Machera from the Healy Library to talk a little bit about research supports and things.
Hi, thank you, Justin. Hello, everyone. My name is Teresa Machera. I'm head of the Reference and Instruction Department at Healy Library. Welcome. I just have here one slide with a lot of information, a lot of links. So I'll just try to hit the high notes here. I've included a couple of links to just basic information on how to reach the library. If for any questions related to library hours, for example, or fines, or where's my book, contact the library.circulation@umb.edu department. They handle all general questions related to the building and to the library. We have a discovery tool that we branded Umbrella. Umbrella is really very robust. It will give you a lot of search results. It's a lot of information on the kind of resources that we have available to you, whether they're in print or in electronic format. One of the things I always recommend that students do when they're using our Umbrella tool, our catalog, is to sign in with your UMass Boston email and password. The advantage to doing that is that once you start doing research in Umbrella, you'll be able to see a lot of services that are not available if you don't sign in, such as requesting interlibrary loan books through Umbrella with one click, requesting content to curbside pickup, which is one of our popular services for students that don't want to just want to pick up content, don't want to park and walk over to the library. So signing in gives you the ability to do that, to save links, to favorite items. And so you don't have to recreate your searches every time you go to Umbrella. Another great service that we have is the Ask a Librarian page. And this is where you go to reach out for reference or research help. One of our most popular services, especially with graduate students, is the 24/7 service, which is available at point of need. It's staffed by UMass Boston librarians and other librarians across the country. So anytime you have a question, you can click on chat and there will be a professional librarian that will be able to help you. We also follow up with you if you need help and the chat librarian was not able to provide that. We will follow up and make sure you get that answer to that question. We have research consultations also, which are available to you, where you can schedule a research consultation with a librarian to work with you on your research questions or literature reviews, for example, for up to an hour or even more if you need it. Our direct email, if you need to contact us, is library.reference@umb.edu. But always feel free to go into Ask a Librarian and choose the option that works best for you, whether it's chat, email, or a consultation. So I mentioned interlibrary loan when we were talking about Umbrella. I always remind students that interlibrary loan will get, for the most part, articles, book chapters, or even books to you that we do not subscribe to or we do not own. If you are on Google Scholar and you see something, you click on it, and it takes you to the publisher's site, and which will normally ask you to pay for that article. Remember, interlibrary loan is there for you, and the turnaround time for request is usually within a couple hours. The department is fantastic, and we'll get those articles to you as quickly as possible. One question some students ask us is about the library barcode and what that is. And basically it's the number that's imprinted in the back of your beacon card, your student ID card. And that it starts with a little plus sign or a little minus sign, and it's 6 digits, and that's your library barcode number. And you need it only for 2 things in the library. You need it to request interlibrary loans, and you needed to check out material at the library. The good news is, as graduate students, that number is activated and live once you get that beacon card. So you don't really have to do anything. The number is really set to go. For students that don't plan on getting the beacon card, the only thing you need to do is call or email the circulation department, and they will assign you a number that you can use. And we have also, if you're on the web a lot, and we all are, of course, we have a browser extension that's available that you can download and put on any browser or your mobile phone and have available whenever you're doing any kind of research. The browser extension functions that when you click on a certain resource and we have it available in full text, it notifies you to log in that we have it in full text. So it really is incredibly helpful as far as your research workflow. There's no interruptions. If we have it, the browser extension will notify you, and you can get right in. And one last bullet point is partner libraries. We are in Boston, and we are surrounded by other academic institutions, and you have access to them. You can travel to any library any academic library in the Boston area. That includes Northeastern, Tufts, the Fenway libraries, and actually use their resources on site. You can get an e-card or a Boston Public Library card. They are a major research institution also, so you have also access to that. The only 2 libraries that you will not be able to get into just by walking in or showing your ID card is MIT and Harvard, but all the other academic institutions are available to you. And if you need more information on that, it's in the library website under visiting other libraries. Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks so much.
And welcome to UMass.
All right.
Yes, Northeastern, absolutely.
All right, so next we have Maria Carvajal-Regidor from the UMass Boston Writing Center.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for bearing with us today. I know that this is a lot of information, and you probably have had other orientations. This is a long day. So I'm going to be relatively quick here. As Justin said, I'm Dr. Carvajal-Regidor, and I am assistant professor in the English department and Writing Center co-director. My fellow co-director is at a different event, but her name is Dr. Florian Jimenez, and we've got a team of graduate students and undergraduate students who we call our consultants. They're the folks that help writers improve their writing and work through questions, assignments in the Writing Center, and they're all trained. But just in case you don't know or you've never heard of a Writing Center, we're the place to go if you want any additional support for your writing. And so we know for graduate students, learning to write in graduate school and learning to write for your particular discipline can be an adjustment, right? And so we encourage you to come to the Writing Center often and early. I am a firm believer in the Writing Center, obviously, but when I was a grad student, I was weekly in the Writing Center getting help and support from other folks. There's just nothing like being able to work with somebody one-on-one and just get all your questions about your writing answered, right? And oftentimes our faculty advisors don't have the time and the bandwidth to give the kind of writing support that we all could really use some benefit. So that's sort of what we do. I'm putting the link to our website on the chat, and you can find out a lot of more information on that website, including how to make an appointment so we can work with you via an appointment. Our sessions are 45-minute long and 45 minutes long, and they happen both in person and online. We also have evening appointments, and we also have Sunday online appointments to try to accommodate folks' working schedules, right? I know we're all busy. Some of us work multiple jobs. And so we're trying to meet you where you are. On campus, we're located in the campus center on the first floor in room 1300. And we have a satellite location in Whitley Hall on the 6th floor, room 48. So if you have an in-person appointment, this is where they will happen. And I give you the link. Follow us on Twitter if you want to learn more about our services. And our schedule will open on September 19th. So next week, you'll be able to look at our schedule and make an appointment already if you want. And then starting September 19th, you will be able to come see us. I'll hang out here and answer any questions that you have in the chat. But welcome again. And don't forget about the Writing Center at any point in your writing process.
Great, thanks so much. All right, so next we're going to transition to the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs, and I have my colleagues Michael Gahn and Tracy Poston who will walk us through some slides.
Hi, everyone, welcome. So I'm Michael Gahn. I'm from the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs, and I wanted to give you guys an overview of what our office does, and then show you a tool that we use to help you find opportunities, grant opportunities, and fellowship opportunities to apply to. So I am a pre-award administrator. My office is divided into pre-award people who help you prepare proposals and submit proposals. And then once you get the award, we help negotiate the award and start an account for you that then the post-award people in our office help you manage the project. We also have a compliance and integrity group that Tracy will speak in a little bit. And we have a data management group that helps us manage our data. So my job, when you as grad students or professors want to apply for a grant or a fellowship, we sit down with you and we go over the announcement for that opportunity. And we make sure that the university is eligible, that you are eligible as a student. And then we talk about the various pieces of the application and what you're going to need to submit. And we come up with a time frame for when we can get those pieces done and a plan for how we're going to submit the proposal. Sometimes they go in a web portal, sometimes they go into the federal government's web portal. Sometimes it's an email to a program officer. We work with you to determine who that is, determine what institutional signatures you need, and what the various pieces are that will make sure that you're compliant with the RFP or the announcement for the grant. So I know it's your first day of grad school, and talking about getting a grant, it's a little bit off. So I wanted to point out on this slide, we have a database. It's called COS Pivot, where you can go and register. You use your UMass email address and then create a password, and you can create a profile that will help match you to grant opportunities and to fellowship opportunities. You use things like keywords for what your research or your project is about, people that you've worked with, your degrees that you have, papers that you've written. All of these things make it so that the system will show you some opportunities that you can apply to. So I'd like to encourage everybody tonight to go and register for Pivot. I know some of you STEM students are maybe in your first year, you're ready to apply for things. Other people, maybe it's your second year or your third year, but whenever you are ready to apply and whenever you find something on Pivot that you'd like to apply to, you can contact me in ORSP. I'll hook you up with the correct person and you can sit down and talk about the grant opportunity and what's needed for it. So please sign up for it. If you have any questions or problems with it, please contact me. I'm going to drop my email address and a link for the registration in the chat. And my colleague Tracy is going to talk about compliance and research integrity.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to UMass. My name is Tracy Poston. I'm the Assistant Director for Research, Compliance, and Integrity for the campus. Next slide, Justin. Thank you. So part of being a graduate student and working on research, you may come across these core concepts. We call it RCR, Responsible Conduct of Research. Some of you may touch on all these issues. Some of you may only touch on a couple. What's very common for graduate students is to come across issues involving animals and human subjects research, also issues with responsible authorship and publication and conflict of interest. These areas you will come in contact with primarily also if you're federally funded or working with a PI that's federally funded. We are mandated to provide you training in these areas. So it's important for you to become familiar with them. Next slide, please. Some of you who are in the sciences will do animal research. Part of animal research is our federal requirements that it's approved by an ethics board. And we have an UAccess, which is Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee. It's made up of faculty members throughout on several different disciplines. And they review animal research for ethics and such things as, euthanasia and issues like that. And that's federally required that you submit your protocols with your PI to the UAccess. Next slide, please. The majority of you will probably do human subjects research. That is run through an institutional review board called the IRB. They assess, again, it's a group of faculty members made up of different disciplines that assess your research, and they look at the risk associated with for participants. And a risk-benefit analysis is also weighed. And so these are all federal regulations that are required that we provide this added level of a review done by other faculty members on campus, in addition to training, which I'll talk about here in a second. Next slide, please. So what you're going to come across at UMB is that we utilize the city program, which will provide you training in the animal and human subjects area. You can branch off into social, behavioral, or biomedical. You typically have to renew this every 3 years, and we have these various areas. What is the most important thing that I need to tell you is that all this training needs to be associated with your UMass Boston email address. And I say that because we utilize a single sign-on process with our software used to submit these protocols. And if you do not use your UMass Boston, the software that we use on campus will not recognize your training. And that makes it just a little bit difficult for the IRB manager and the animal manager to process your request. Next slide, please. So what is really exciting, at least I'm excited about it, is that now all the compliance and soon to be grant management is all electronic. And we utilize the Koali system. And so all your IRBs, your UAccess, and even your conflict of interest can be submitted online. And you will have your own dashboard, which will basically house your whole research profile. If you have any grants that you submit along with your compliance areas. It'll also house your training. That's why I indicated that you need to also utilize your UMB email address instead of, I get a lot of students sometimes that use Gmail accounts and the system just will not recognize it. Next slide, please. So this is my team. If you need any help or have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us directly. We spend a lot of time in the classrooms. We spend a lot of time individually with graduate students and even undergrads who are working on research, and we're really happy to assist you. If you're wanting to do animal research, please keep in mind that's a little bit longer process, and make sure that in order to have access to the animal facility, you have to not only have your training completed, but also go through occupational health and safety. And Elizabeth Boats, who is the animal facility manager, will assist you with that. But regardless, if you have any questions about research compliance in any of these areas or anything else that may pop up, please feel free to reach out to me directly and I will point you in the right direction. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Tracy and Mike. All right, so that concludes just the kind of general, just that little thing. The last hour and a half of constant information is the main part of the graduate orientation for all students. So thank you guys very much for coming and sticking through. I will send the slides to everyone who is here today, and the recording will also, without my joke, unfortunately, will be available in a few days on the Grad Resources website. So everyone who is not a graduate assistant is free to go. Anyone who does have a graduate assistantship, this final part will be led by my colleague, Simon Hale, who is the Assistant Director in the Office of Graduate Studies. He works with the assistantships, and he also has colleagues from the Human Resources Department and the Graduate Employee Organization, the Union for Graduate Assistants, to talk about some of their services. So thank you guys very much, and we'll just give people a few seconds to settle back in or leave, and Simon can take it away.
Thanks so much, Justin. Can everybody hear me?
Yep. Okay,
great. So as everyone's been saying, welcome to UMass Boston. So I'm going to go over the graduate assistantship, what we do in the Office of Graduate Studies around graduate assistantships. We could move on to the next slide. So basically, our office consists of Paul, who's the director, and is unfortunately out today, just with previous health appointment that he had, and then Jessica Wade, who's an admin assistant that works in our office as well, and myself. Next slide. So our office is basically in charge of managing the processing of graduate assistantships at UMass Boston. So obviously, if you're here, you are with a graduate program that has elected to give you guys an assistantship. And so that can vary from a full-time assistantship, half-time assistantship, three-quarter assistantship. And then we kind of coordinate and collaborate with those different programs to make sure that you guys get entered into payroll and your tuition credit waivers get applied, and also the reimbursement if you guys do elect. So student health insurance is obviously optional for some. And if you do elect to opt into student health insurance, there is a reimbursement that is applied to your Wiser account as well for being a grad assistant. And then dental and vision is also optional. Next slide. So just some definitions here. And so the kind of assistantship definitions that we use are teaching assistant, and that's a graduate student who's primarily assigned to instructional support activities with a faculty member. And so again, you would be working with a faculty member and helping to basically run a course. A teaching fellow is a graduate student that is actually the instructor of record for a lecture section and has independent responsibility for its teaching and grading. Those are typically students that have had some experience, and obviously the program feels comfortable allowing you to be the instructor of record. Then there's a RA or a research assistant, and that's someone who performs work primarily related to academic research. Again, is typically working close with a faculty member or principal investigator on a sponsored project or on a research project. And then you have an academic assistant, and that's someone who kind of performs work of an administrative or technical nature, but it's, related to their course of study and gaining professional skills as part of being a grad student. Next slide. So to be eligible for an assistantship, it's only for matriculated doctoral and master's students. You obviously can be on program fee, meaning that if you're a doctoral student that has completed your coursework and you can still be an assistant, you can still be a graduate assistant. Students in graduate certificate programs are not eligible. You have to have good academic standing, which is above a GPA of 3.0. and international students must hold an F1 visa. So this slide just kind of describes the stipend rates and tuition benefits. So the fall term is covered from September 4th to January 7th. And then there's a 2-week winter break. And then there's the spring term appointments, which start January 22nd to May 27th. And if you're a full-time assistant, that is considered 18 hours. And that's because we obviously kind of recognize that students are going to need time to complete their coursework and and have an enjoyable experience while they're on campus. So we maximize the grad FTEs at 18 hours. A 3/4 assistantship is 13.5 hours, and a half-time assistantship is 9 hours. And a teaching fellow is also a full-time is 18 hours, and that's typically assigned to 2 courses. And a half-time teaching fellow is assigned to 1 course. And again, that's the instructor of record. So just as an FYI, the first paycheck of the fall semester is issued on September 16th. And the last paycheck of the semester is issued on the 20th. And those paychecks will be half paychecks. So don't be confused by that, because of the way the payroll cycle works. It'll be a half paycheck, but then the next paycheck will be for the full 2-week period. Next slide. And again, so for the insurance information that we have here, if you do decide to opt into student health insurance or dental or vision, this chart kind of describes the university contribution to the health insurance plan, and then the student responsibility for the different plans. And so, for example, if you're a full-time grad FTE, let's say research assistant, and you elect into the student health insurance plan, then that total premium is $34.71, and then the $2,500 contribution is made in October. So people that do elect to keep the insurance, the bill on your Wiser account is going to show, because we want to wait. We want to give all people the opportunity to opt in. And so the opt-in deadline is in October. And so that's when we add your $2,500 reimbursement to your Wiser account. So don't pay it. You can kind of disregard it for now. And then once the opt-in period is closed, we place that university contribution toward your account. So you'll see all that stuff get squared up in October. And another benefit of graduate assistance through GEO is payroll deduction. And so if you elect to sign up for it, and the deadline is October 8th, so there's still time. I usually tell people to wait till you receive your first paycheck, kind of see how much you want to elect to have removed from payroll deduction. So you can basically have a certain amount, as much as the total amount of the paycheck, and that can go toward paying off your remaining balance. And so you can choose however much or however little that you want. And it occurs over 5 of the semester paychecks. And that happens again in October. So from October till the end of the semester, you have a fixed amount of money that comes out of your paycheck that will go towards your balance, and it can never overcharge. So if you have a $0 balance on your Wiser account, then it'll just stop paying off towards it. And the deductions are after tax. And sign up does not auto renew, so you have to re-enroll for each semester. So if you enroll for the fall, you would just have to re-enroll for the spring as well. And the sign up tile is located on the Wiser homepage. So assuming that you're registered for classes as a grad assistant, then you will see that you have an option to sign up for GEO payroll deduction. So again, this is, you can just as easily, if you want, you can go to the bursar's office if you're on campus and kind of make a payment at any time. I mean, you don't have to only rely on this, but this is just another benefit given to you if you wanted to kind of have a fixed payment plan that you wanted to utilize. And again, the sign up deadline is Saturday, October 8th. So there's still plenty of time for you to be able to do that. And so this just defines which checks that the payroll deduction is taken from. So October 28th, November 11th, the 25th, December 9th, and December 23rd. So those are the check dates that you can have payroll deduction applied to. And if you have any questions, feel free to email graduate.studies@umb.edu, as well as any of us, myself, Paul, or Jess, with any questions that you have, and we will happily get back to you.
All right. Next, we're going to hear from April Corbett-Ederglas, who is our HR specialist that works with graduate assistants, and she can walk you through some of the payroll deductions or the payroll paperwork and things like that.
Thank you, Justin. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to UMass Boston. Congratulations on your being admitted to your graduate programs. It's going to be a great adventure, and we're here to assist you with the next steps. So this is particularly regarding the graduate assistants. As the graduate assistants, you're also part of our employee network as graduate employees. So for the very first time, employees, we first want to get you into our system so that we can pay you in time. By this time, you should have received our welcome message from the Graduate Studies Office that gives you the links for your pre-employment paperwork and the I-9, completing your I-9 information. I-9 is the information from the USCIS that confirms your identity and employment eligibility. Pre-employment paperwork is the specifically set of paperwork designed to capture information about you, and direct deposit and your address and some other information. So we need these two parts completed so that you will be active in our system, hopefully by the end of this week or early next week. And then I'm seeing, I also, there are comments that are not, that you haven't received that email. You would have only received this if you are very brand new employees. If you had assistantships in the previous semesters and you're now joining us again, you will not need this information. We will just continue with we will rehire you into this year, but we can figure that out as well as we go. Next slide. So one of the things that Simon in the previous slides talked about our payroll calendar. This is a demonstration of what our payroll calendar is, and I apologize, this is from last year's. But this is on HR website, and we will be available this would be available to you as well. But this is how it works. So if you take a look at each parts of the calendar here, there's a little like indication of what each little rectangle or bolded numbers or green numbers mean. So the little rectangles are showing when the payroll checks will be delivered. And the arrows show when the pay period begins and when the pay period ends. The bold one is when the payroll is processed. So I hope this would explain that because you are starting on Sunday the 4th this year, and the first day of classes is Tuesday the 6th, as you can see, you're beginning in the middle of the pay period. So this is why your first paycheck and your last paychecks will be half paychecks. And this is the part that assignment said don't get alarmed, nothing is wrong. And then if there's any delay, everything will be retroactively paid. So please do not worry about that. So these, and then there'll be these little rectangles, as I said, as are the paydays. Next one. All right, so how do you see all of this in the system? Once you are active in our system, and this will be after Tuesday, September 5th, the 6th, right? You can go to our website, www.umb.edu/HR, and click on the HR Direct logo, and this will direct you to the secure access logging. using your campus user ID, which is your email and your passport, you can log in, and it will give you the authentication method, and then do a push or the multi-factor authentication. And once you have that, next slide, Justin, you will see your employee self-service page. In this page, you can see your payroll, your pay stubs, personal details about like HR direct deposit information, and your W-2 information will be here as well. You can make adjustments to your tax withholdings, as well as update us if there's any address change. If there's you can see what your upcoming payroll amount will be. Yes, direct deposit will be available, and it's you firstly to let us know through the pre-employment paperwork. Next slide. And that's kind of about it. Thank you so much. Any questions? Direct deposit is available, yes. And the I-9 form I-9 form can be completed without SSN number. So for international students, brand new ones, again, if you do not have your SSN number, please do not be alarmed. In the pre-employment paperwork, you can just put all zeros, 000, 0000, and then 00. That will be absolutely fine, and you can apply for your SSN card in the meantime. And when you receive it, don't email us, don't give it to anyone, just bring it to our HR office in person, please. There's a hand raised. I don't know if there's a question. Jacqueline, I can't hear you if you're talking.
Yeah, so everyone's muted. So if you do have a question, just feel free to throw it in the chat.
Perfect.
So if there are some new people that have been added recently by a program, then we are in the process of, still sending out the information. And so in the original email that went out, I believe the last day to schedule for the I-9 paperwork was September 2nd. But, for people that were unable to schedule a time up to now or on that day, we'll be working with HR to kind of figure out some days in the upcoming weeks to coordinate all of that. So no worries.
Is this Friday the only day we can bring proof and documentation? No, you can, if you are in the system, or let me say it this way, if you have received a message from our offices and then have completed the I-9 section 1, you can just come to our office with your applicable documents. It can be your US passport or your foreign passport, and the other supporting documentation like I-20 and what other I-94 definitely. You can come in anytime, and then I actually would appreciate if you guys can come in sooner than later, so that we have the information in the system and we can process it in time. Jacqueline's questions about managing taxes withholdings. So again, you will have access to HR Direct when you are active in our payroll system. Hopefully, if everything is completed, this will be starting on September 6th. All right.
All right, so I think I'm gonna, if you do have questions, if you could stay on and either answer them, or we can give you some more airtime. But we do have Caitlin Kachoki from the Dean of Students offices. So for those of you who are still around, I know it's kind of general information. Wanted to loop back to that before we hear from the GEO. So Caitlin, thank you for joining us. So I briefed you on this, but Georgiana went over some like broad kind of points about the Dean of Students offices, but please share anything that you'd like.
Yeah, hi everyone. Sorry I'm late this evening, and I appreciate having a minute to talk to you. I won't keep you long. The most important thing for grad students to know about the Dean of Students office is all services and support are available to graduate students the same as they are undergrads. I think the best thing, having been a grad student myself, the best thing about the Dean of Students office is we're a resource and support hub that's actually outside of your department. So if there's something going on in your personal life, you have a family emergency, I describe it as life outside the classroom, and maybe you're concerned about talking to your PI or your advisors or whoever it is in your academic world, we are happy to be a place to start to help you formulate an approach and look for resources and options. And we will support students throughout that process of navigating. Maybe you need some time off, maybe you need a resource like our emergency aid fund, which offers some small grants to students when they're going through a personal crisis. But everything you see on the Dean of Students website can be utilized for graduate students as well, and we will connect with your department as you instruct us to do so. Definitely when we work with grad students, we let y'all tell us how you would like us to communicate with your department, or rather if you would rather do the communication. But we do see a lot of grad students who come and just want to talk through, I think I need to take a semester off. How do I approach that? So that's all I really wanted to add, was just to emphasize that we're here for you as well. And I did want to make sure I touched on that emergency aid fund, because that is something that students should really know about, that if you are going through a crisis, if you have a house fire, if there's a flood, gosh, you name it, our students see it, please reach out and we can try to help you get, whatever small grant it is to try to make ends meet so you can stay engaged at UMass Boston. But I'll drop the Dean of Students email in the chat so you can email us if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Caitlin. All right, next up, we're going to hear from the Graduate Employee Organization. We got Christopher Wynock and Jonathan Vega Martinez with us.
Oh, no, I'm not Chris. I do actually.
Oh, sorry. I just assumed.
This is Warren.
Oh, hey, Warren.
But
Warren Hinkle.
I do want to briefly mention, a lot of folks have still said they haven't gotten that initial email from HR. Who should they email, just quickly, so that they can get on that mailing list?
It's not HR.
If they're a new grad assistant, and they have yet to receive that email, they can email graduate.studies@umb.edu. So I'll throw that in the chat.
With that, Johnny, I think I'll pass it to you. I'll just introduce myself briefly. My name is Warren Hinkle. I'm actually the staffer with the UAW, which is the affiliate union for the Graduate Employee Organization. We're the labor union for all of you as graduate assistants on campus. And my position here is one of the many benefits, but I will leave Johnny to chat about the rest of them.
Hi, everyone. I'm Johnny. I'm a PhD student within the Department of Sociology. I'm part of the GEO organizing committee, which is the grad employee union. We are here to basically stick up for you. We just finished bargaining. We got ourselves raises, bonuses for COVID. We got increase in health insurance. We offer to our members, we offer the SSF, the Scholarly Support Fund, which is a fund students can apply to for research expenses. We also will be launching an emergency fund to help students with emergency expenses. We help make sure that if you need, if you are having problems with your assistantship, we can help you guys out, resolve any problems you might have through mediation. Yeah, so I strongly encourage you guys to join us and get involved. You guys are entering new to your department. If you guys would like us to come and speak to your department, I'm always happy to drop by. So get in contact with like people in your department and with us, and we'll be happy to go talk to you in a more relaxed setting with plenty of time for you guys to ask questions. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass it back to Warren now.
Yeah, just to pitch in, don't worry too much about the slides. They're more of a guideline than a proper tool. But just in terms of how some of the things go and some of the things that we've won through bargaining, if you have a graduate assistantship, you're within the union. We ask everybody to kind of become more active and offer more of a joining in, usually by signing their dues and FERPA form. You would have gotten them as part of your pre-employment paperwork. It says dues authorization form and FERPA waiver form. The FERPA form is how we know who you are and are able to get in touch with you, which is important because we can go, hey, if you've been having trouble with this benefit, and for example, we've had some trouble over these last few months getting people retroactive pay, you can tell us and we can make sure that that gets fixed. It lets us send out notice for events, which we often hold. We throw parties off campus, and they're usually very good. But I guess that sort of brings me to another part of this, which is the things that we do beyond just bargaining and union work. That's obviously immensely important. Boston is a wildly expensive city. We did very well this bargaining period. We got 4% raises to all of these salaries. We got a huge increase in the university contribution on health insurance. We were able to get the creation of the emergency fund. We were able to double the scholarly support fund, which is, again, what is a benefit to you if you're presenting or attending a conference online or offline, or if you need other academic support. But the other things that we do are the social side of things, and those are worth mentioning. We do throw parties and we hold events. We're planning to hold panels this semester on social justice and other conversations, which we're organizing right now in collaboration with the Graduate Student Assembly. At some point, we're going to have a, I guess I'll call it a pizza file for debt forgiveness event, which is pretty much what it sounds like. Show up, eat pizza, and let's learn how to actually file for the debt forgiveness. We're all either grad students or used to be grad students, and we know that grad school is really, really difficult, and if you let it, will just consume you. And part of what the union does is beyond financial benefit and labor benefit, it's making sure you actually survive this split thing, because it is it's stressful. We try to offer community as well as everything else, so we would love to see any of you get involved. If you do want to get involved or reach out to us, I've seen some people ask in the chat already or message me. However, our email address is incredibly simple and incredibly easy. It is geo@umb.edu. No full words, easy to remember and easy to email. We keep a pretty close eye on it. Our office isn't really staffed anymore, but if you ever want to swing by and see what the union office looked like, it's on the second floor of Quinn. Essentially, if you step out of the elevators, take a right and immediately take a right and walk all the way down to those big plate windows. The office is the last door on your right. It'll say union office and everything else. But we would love to see you get involved. Do make sure to fill out your dues auth form and your FERPA form, and ideally, obviously send them in and submit them, but also send them to us. And we hope to see you around, whether that is at parties or if you can't find a copy of the dues authorization form, there's a copy of it on our website, which similarly is simply geoumb.org. We tried, whoopsies, that is the wrong thing. geoumb.org, because we try to keep things easy. You can also find the current contract there. It's the 2017 to 2020 version. We're still finalizing the new contract, which is why we've yet to put it up on the website. But yeah, I think that's most everything. But do get in touch with us, do get organized, email us, and if there's any questions, please feel free to ask.
Great. Thank you so much, Warren and Johnny.
Yeah.
All right, so that concludes. Congratulations, you guys. Again, it was a slog, but hopefully you picked up some useful tips and tricks. But really, especially with all the information coming at you, it's just to say, here are the people that can help you on your course here. Again, it's a small enough university, especially at the graduate level, that we're all accessible. There's several ways to get to the various offices that you need, so you don't feel like you have to know exactly where to go for what. We can refer you as needed. But welcome, thank you. I'll probably keep going for another couple of minutes as there's any final questions in the chat. But thank you. And again, I'll send these slides out, and this recording will be on the umb.edu. Just bring you back to the umb.edu/grad resources page. So thank you guys very much. Welcome, congratulations again, and best of luck. It's going to be a great year.
It looks like Ramesh has a question. Oh, Justin, are you still here? I suppose not. 1 second, I'll drop Justin's email in the chat for you, and that way you can just reach out to him directly. Click email address. Y'all have a great evening.